Yo, what's going on? It's your man Sammy G. We in the building with
It's your favorite girl, Mimi.
Boom and our return guest
Nebdo.
Yo, and our new guest.
Abel.
We already here, established, making magic. Join us. Now, let's delve in. So, topic I wanted to discuss. Let me just start it off heavy. Men with the emotional maturity of children at a later age, like they maintain it. Now, this is obviously a continuation of Mental Health Awareness Month, so we're just gonna run with it while we're here. But is it a mental issue? Is it an issue to what capacity? What do you think?
I think like when it comes to maturity with men, it's just more like relationships with women or like whatever your partner is gonna be. And then I think it takes time. Like they all say women do mature at an early age more than men, right? But then at the same time, like men, we trying to prepare. We're the hunters, right? You know, the hunters, gatherers.
Okay.
So it takes time for us to mature to like basically prepare for our women.
I mean,
That's what I'm saying.
I think there's less excuse for men to be acting like children after a certain age. Like when I say children, I mean like not really pettiness. Is anyone can be petty because it's sometimes deserving. Like if you called on if you did something that you deserve to be treated in such manner, then fuck you. I'm being petty, but that's not. I'm not gonna say that. That's childish, but attitude that's reflective of like childhood, like childlike attitude. Like they don't. They act. They respond in ways that's like. Because I'm speaking of experience, obviously. I have friends, unfortunately, that act like kids when you confront them with stuff. So I just wanted to I'm not throwing no names out there, but I just wanted to get this off my chest while talking about that. But yeah, I mean, you got anything to add in? I mean, niggas that act like, or just not even men, just period, people that act like immature for their age.
A part of it could be environmental, like where you are, where you grew up, your household, like did you have a male figure in your life? All of that, I think, plays a part in maturity level. If you surround yourself with friends who, after college or whatever, after a certain age are not stable in any sense of the word, like you should probably remove yourself because you're going to be like them. So make better choices in your circle. If you have daddy issues, confront them. That's important. Like, he left. You don't know him. I get it, but you grew up wanted. Hopefully, I would hope. Like if you had a mom who held you down, don't discredit her by saying, "Oh, my dad wasn't there for me," to justify your poor behavior. I don't think that's okay. After a certain age, you should just realize that that's no longer acceptable.
Right, but why can't someone accept it though? Like what would withhold them from pushing their mental state, ascending their mental state? Like what's that barrier that's stopping them from? Is it denial?
I think just awareness.
Yeah.
Right, like someone basically acknowledging the issue that I'm sure someone has presented to them before in their life about themselves. Have they acknowledged that? Are they do they believe that it's an issue? Number one, and then once they actually maybe confront it, because at a time in your life, you're eventually going to have to come to a point where, you have to come to terms with that. Some people don't, but a lot of people do at a certain point. And then like, how do you deal with that? Do you reach out to people that can really help you, resources, like mental health, like counseling and therapists? Do you just talk to your boys?
Maybe they didn't have that chance to grow, like that growth stage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's tough. If you already go into like in situations like that, and it's just like across the board in life, you come into something with a negative, you already kind of got things pitted against you. So you're gonna have to be that much more aware and like finding your solution.
Yeah.
No one's like, we're grown, we're all adults, males here, and there's not a lot of sympathy for you at that point. You need to find you need to work on finding an answer. For your problem.
Right.
I mean,
So us all being from the Habesha community, I'm gonna have to ask, what's your pet peeve about us?
Oh, my pet peeve is just like saving face. Like the whole culture got a safe face. They can't be honest about how they feel about even mental awareness, and it's just like they gotta hide things. It's just that whole saving face thing. I'm not. It kind of sucks. You can't be honest because Western civilization, they're more straight up. You know what I mean? They're more like, hey, I can't do this, I can't do that, and like Habesha community and just with other immigrant communities, we're like, oh, we have to do this because this is the way it is. This tradition, this is the way it is, and it's like you got to break that off at a certain point. So that's how I feel about it.
I joke about like our passive aggressiveness, like we are the passive aggressive, you know, definition of it. There's a Habesha person just like in the, you know, it's like in the like the whatever
They hold the grudge.
So it's like a thing where that's why I think like there's any mechanism to like escapism, like alcohol or things like that generally are some things that kind of like create this element of being able to free yourself of like who you hold yourself, like that, what you hold underground all day, right? So that's why there's like, I think in the community, there's an element of when people drink alcohol, people like don't recognize them as much because there's this person that they've been holding in underground. And then also, I know that like just from like above, I always call like above surface, under surface, like there's this thing where like Habesha, like nature is just like nice people, right? So it's like someone's trying to get by, you're like, oh, you know, I'm sorry, you know,
Be humble. You gotta always be humble.
But there's an element as soon as you get disrespected, you turn into like a monster.
Yeah.
And that's a problem, right? Because that means that you're not, and then, you know, like in the Western culture, that's like, well, you were never nice. If that's who you really are.
Why is that?
When you turn into that monster, that's who you are. And so I think it's a thing where it's not a mature relationship with like feelings and things like that. It can seek to be developed. I know there's people that are in our community that are working to like kind of like confront these things, and there's like some therapists I know that I've heard of that are like
in the DMV, right?
Yeah, that are out to like talk about things like that. And so yeah, no, I think there's definitely some emotional maturity that needs to happen culturally as a whole. It's definitely now that we're interacting with the Western world, like those things might rock when you're out in like ID or whatever. I just like spending time there. I know like even when I'm with Habesha friends, like when somebody has a wild night and they just wild and did something crazy, like, you know, kicked a cop car or just whatever they did, the next day people are like, oh, you good? Like, it's like almost like you're our brother, like, you know, like we're used to that. But when you're doing that with another community, they like, yeah, excommunicate. Right. You know what I mean? They like, we don't tolerate that type of behavior. And so it's something that once you start to find yourself out west, you have to really come to terms with. We have to find a way to like really be better about that. So
yeah. I think it's a little bit of from my experience, it's a little bit of like we have immense or enormous amount of support within, and at the same same side of the coin, or the upside of the coin is, you know, not hate but just extreme criticism, you know, that's unwarranted to half of them, you know, are unwarranted because they're who are they and what are they doing, you know? So they do that, you know, bystander shit where they just have the audacity to say what they want to say about you instead of confronting whatever they need to have about themselves, or just you know, just do better, you know, stop the hate, you know. I just feel like I've gone on both sides. I've been on both sides of that camp, and you know, I mean, it is what it is. But I still love our people. I just think that we got some things to work on.
We need to be more open. They're not open. The whole Habesha culture, even just in general, immigrant cultures, whether Indian, Ethiopian, Eritrean, Nigerian, whatever, we're just closed off culture. Like we hide things. Like it could be something traumatizing that happened to anybody, and we'll just still pretend like it's okay. Like it's not brought forth to the light.
Yeah, you know, it's the same. It's the same way. You know, Jews do the same thing. You know, oh shit, I'm gonna get in trouble for that. But Jews do. I mean, it's been.
It's immigrant culture. They're foreign
immigrant
culture.
culture,
They're not.
yeah.
They're not a westernized culture.
Well, what I'm saying is in the sense that they handle things within the community.
Yeah, they had just like the Chinese community and just like
Oh yeah.
foreign
yeah,
communities that built a base in America.
Right.
But I think that's very different for the Habesha community, though, because we're not,
We're not at that
as
level.
yeah, we're not on that level.
We're not that level.
We haven't reached that point. We haven't
I
come
see what
together
you're
in
saying,
the way that the Jewish community has
Or
or
the
the Asian
Chinese,
community
yeah.
has. We have not done that. We
That's
are
a
too
fact.
busy hating on one another,
Like,
and
you pop up a restaurant, the other one's trying
that
to compete.
person is trashing your restaurant. Is just
Yeah.
like, why?
Negative Yelp reviews.
If I win, you win. At the end of the
Is that
day.
real? I never heard of that.
Yeah,
No, the thing
they
is,
really try
Habesha-
to tear each other down, and it's ugly.
telling the
They do it
truth.
in the
It's
church.
like crabs in a barrel thing.
It's fact. That's
It's
just
horrible.
all black diaspora.
It
Whether it could be
sucks.
from Jamaica, Nigeria,
right,
Ethiopia,
right.
Eritrea, you could Puerto Rico, all black. Like we have that thing amongst each other.
But we also have to say there's a lot of sticking together in certain ways. Like, maybe it's because I'm from a small community, Habesha community. I'm from like the Midwest or whatever, so
Yeah.
we have a very small community. But like,
yeah.
that type of like, obviously we're talking about maybe other communities that maybe have history in learning how to mobilize in other places, right?
Yeah.
We're like far behind in the timeline of
We are. We
like
came in late.
like those cultures that you mentioned.
Yeah, we was exposed to technology.
It's late. Like the Habeshas
Yeah.
came in like the 70s, 80s,
Yeah,
90s.
exactly. So this is like and that's the first time venturing out of East
The
Africa.
homeland, yeah.
You know,
We're the first.
so-
we're one of the first. We're the first generation in our lineage
Yeah,
to be
we-
born
yeah.
outside.
But in regard to like, I don't know
Yeah.
about every community, but like I know the one that I grew up in, like when there's problems, like problems are solved. Like that, when there's issues with people, the issues are solved. You know what I mean? So it's like,
Okay.
it's also like probably 300 families, right?
So it's solved right away versus just like.
No, it's just a natural thing. You know what I mean? Like, if you've ever seen when like anything happens to like when there's ever like the GoFundMe's or anything like that, like for
Yeah,
Habesha person with
GoFundMe,
cancer
yeah,
or
yeah.
something like
They,
that.
like,
those
support.
things, like even like my friends that are American, they're like shocked by like how those things get supported like that. You know what I mean? I mean, let's not negate that, but I mean, obviously we could do a better job. I think it's just like not a structure involved in how to basically like we don't have a system of helping each other that's set up like those
Right.
cultures
True,
that you
true.
mentioned,
I
like
see what
they're
you
very
definitely-
specific about how they do
Right.
it. You
Yeah,
know?
Right.
yeah, this was like way back. So like we do have more catching up to do. Like what you were saying, we got way more catching up to do.
And there's also, I think there's a little bit when you step outside, like obviously when you're talking about the situations I mentioned or about people are like on rough times, right? And it's obviously like, that's our nature of like maybe being there. It's like,
Right.
yeah, I may have like hated on your restaurant, but if you have something bad happen to you,
Right.
like you
I'll
can
be
always
great.
like, we'll do something, you know? It's like, I may not let you like hit the stars, but I won't let you hit the ground,
Right,
you know what I mean?
right, exactly.
So like in that way,
Exactly.
but at the same time, I think there's when it comes to like creating structures that create prosperity, like you're talking about in those other cultures,
Yeah.
I don't think there's a belief that anybody has it figured out because no one really knows anybody that's like, within our culture that's like really like created it like that type of like success to where it's like, yeah, we'll follow that plan.
But
So now it's kind of like still like a thing where everybody has their own plan. Nobody really believes in anybody else's plan
Right.
to succeed. I think that's part of it, and that's hopefully that like works its way out as we're here. But
I think like it's gonna work like because we got brothers like the Weeknd, Nipsey Hussle. I mean they're kind of they're sparking something. It's like a spark
Yeah.
right now, and it's a fire that's about to start. It's a fire that
and there's like
is
a
about to
pride that
blow.
like in like the younger generation that's not
That's-
necessarily there in the parents, right? Like I
Yeah.
think they're more likely to listen to somebody like that and take their
Someone
entire like word for for something they can go after. Like the Nipsey thing is huge, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
that
and I
That
think that's
definitely brought
about to
us together.
spark. It's about to be a fire, like what I said. Nipsey, not only Nipsey Hussle, Amine, you got brothers like The Weeknd, like they had to kind of separate from the community to just build a name that could relate to everybody. Like their music, whether you like it or not, it could relate to some kid in Siberia or a kid in Compton or Chicago that could relate to their music, or the Bronx. And like I think it's gonna be a fire for East African artists. There's also Kanan, the Somali rapper. Like these people,
My
they're
cousin,
about to spark a fire, and something's about to go
my,
down.
My cousin, I just want to give a shameless
Yeah.
plug.
Shout out.
My cousin, Semi, you can find her on Instagram. Hello, Semi.
Oh, she's from Jersey, right?
She's from Elizabeth.
Yo,
born and
shout
raised,
out.
But yeah, she's out in West Vegas and LA. Love you, cousin. Bye, mom.
Yes.
Shout out. Like, that's about to start a fire that's gonna build something bigger for, like, you know, East Africa and just Africa in general. And that's gonna put a spotlight to their shine about just being just African in general, and that a community, a lot of artists, like, we did, you know, Wale, Nigerian, African, Chameleonaire. These are like Africans that born in Akon. So I think from these examples, something's about to happen right now. Something's about to happen.
Pan-African, next level.
Yeah, Pan-African. That's always what I stood
That's my
by.
shit.
By the way, TIA, this is Africa, man. That's why I want to shout out.
Okay, that's a good song?
No, just T.I. is just a message. Like, it was a song by rapper Kane on, but it's just,
T.I.
it mean, T.I., it's just all about Pan-Africanism, and it's like,
Marcus
Marcus Garvey shit, we all went.
Alright.
Yep.
Okay, alright. Well, okay, we could step away from the Habesha community real quick. Because as exciting as they are and as fun as we like to talk about ourselves, we can move on. But I wanted to get on the Ayesha Curry situation a little bit.
Oh, with this situation with him. Look, like, I got one jump into it.
Like you throw it.
No. Now he throwing the alley-oop, but I'm just saying, it's like, I understand we work different. Men and women is different. So, like, I don't think we should we shouldn't be harsh on Ayesha Curry. I understand what she, like, men, our version of attention is worse. We're filled with testosterone. We're perverts. Like, we're just like all about. I don't think Ayesha Curry was just. I don't think Ayesha Curry was trying to take it to, like, trying to do some dudes how we're trying to, like, fuck some females. Part of my French.
Yeah, right.
But, like, I don't think women at the same time, they want attention. They want to be loved. They want to be adorned. That's why they be up on Miguel and Usher and all the artists.
40 years old.
Adorned. They want to be. They want attention. Women want it, and they deserve to be adorned. Think about it. Women are pieces of art. They're beautiful.
That's how I feel. Like, I think I heard it through, like, an audio clip or something like that at first, and I didn't really take too much to it. I mean, I think I've heard it in different variations before. Like, I just thought, like, people act like it was this brand new thing that they had never, like, ever heard or married or, like, anybody, women in a relationship talk about before. Yeah. I thought it was kind of overblown, to be honest. And I thought,
I feel like.
But one thing I did notice, because I didn't watch the video until later, I didn't realize the setup of how they were all sitting in the red table talks. It was Ayesha, then it was Steph's mom, then it was Steph's sister, and then it was, like, Seth's, I think, space, and then Seth's fiance or whatever. Right. And so what I noticed was that when Ayesha was talking, his mom was like, "Shut up." Like, basically, like, what she said, what she kind of said was, she's like, I don't, like, when she started to basically, like, I know that, I don't want anything from it. And she's like, that's a dangerous place.
Right.
Yeah,
she said that.
Because she got that maturity.
But she was trying to say, like, when she said, like, obviously don't want anything from these people, but I wanted to go, his mom said, that's a dangerous, like, alley. Meaning, like, entertaining is not something you want to kind of even put in your mind. Because your thoughts are powerful, right? So I don't take that as her saying she doesn't trust her daughter-in-law or anything like that. But I also look at it like she's mature. She's been through those situations to where, like, when I would say that first, like, I don't know how long they've been married, right? But I know they've been together for a long time. But, like, when you get out of, like, the immature stages of age and now you're in this age, it takes some time to fully get that immature stuff off you. To where you, like, that whole, like, young, hot, I want people to do this, like, I still want to act like cool and hip. And I think that she still is, like, she's probably getting the last like remnants of that effort. That
But then-
But I don't mean to
Alright,
interrupt.
we got it.
I
We got
don't
it. Alright.
I don't feel like her saying that she would like attention from other guys means that she's going to entertain other men. That just
Yeah,
means
yeah.
if she steps outside and took the time to do her makeup,
No, yeah,
pick
I
out
don't
a
think-
nice outfit,
Let's-
I don't
and
think
her
anybody
husband
here
is
thinks
away,
that.
you
Yeah,
know.
I don't think anybody
But-
here thinks
but,
that.
Like media tore her apart for
Yeah,
that.
they
It's
did
like,
because I think people take, and this is something I have an issue with, and I feel like this has happened a couple times recently where guys take like a little bit of a situation, they blow it up and run with it. Another situation,
Clown around. We like to clown around. We like we
But that's
be
dangerous.
But here's
more
the
like
thing.
clowning
Another
around.
situation I felt like that way about was that whole what's his name from damn, why do I keep forgetting that? Kodak Black with
Kodak
the Nipsey
Black.
thing, right?
Right.
And I feel like that situation
hit
with
a
the Lauren
little
London thing was,
deeper, though.
but I understand, but I know understand the inappropriate nature or whatever of it. But there was this obsession with it from guys, from a standpoint of like, nah, like,
machismo. So like,
no, but it wasn't machismo.
More meaning
right?
like, yo, we
let
gotta
me be
say
let me be real about men, right? Men have this weird kind of like obsession with the bad, like worst things that other men say, in a way that doesn't seem authentic to me. It almost seems like a thing of like a perverse like.
But
You know,
isn't
people
that
get mad
part of-
about something
isn't
that they
part of-
think about, like those, not necessarily in the exact thought of like Lauren, but I'm saying like in those types of thoughts where I feel like they kind of like get mad to try to like to basically compensate for their own like bad thoughts that they have.
But
Because
isn't
it was
that the
weird because it was like,
competitiveness of men? That's
No.
the competitive
No.
energy,
No.
like where one man is trying
have you
to
ever
like,
seen American Beauty or whatever? Like that
yeah,
movie?
with the guy
Spacey.
who's banned. He's banned, Kevin Spacey.
But do you remember how like the dad next door was acting about like his son being gay?
He was very like military, right?
Yeah, but you know, like that type of nature, how he was acting about his
Yeah.
son being gay, he was getting madder
Yeah, he
than
was
anybody
very
else. And just really
militant,
whatever.
yeah.
But he actually wound up like kind of like coming on to Kevin Spacey.
He became, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. And so it's kind of like, that's what I kind of feel like it is. I feel like it's like an anger of that type of feelings that come out of you, you try to push on and like in a frustrated way to somebody else. I feel like in a mature way, somebody says something like that, you say, you know what, you're an idiot. Like we don't even acknowledge you, moving on to the important things.
Right.
But the thing is,
They
like they kept
entertain
wanting to bring it up.
They were
Like,
entertaining.
yo, did you
yeah.
hear about Kodak Black? Yo, did you want, like, even when I was in the gym, you Kodak Black, you would go, like, why are you so obsessed with that?
But I know it's wrong, but like as men, literally we get, as men, whether you like it or not, we get entertained off that like
That's
dumb
what I'm
shit.
saying. But
Like, you know what I'm saying?
but I
We
think
be
there's an
getting-
element.
You
I
see
think
a
there's
fight in the street,
Right.
you'll be the most mature guy, and you see a fight, and you're like,
But if
shit,
like
you know what I'm
let's
saying?
step into like
Yeah.
the ill like the world, the dark world that you were talking about earlier, whatever. Like those, if you look at those things that's a true sense of what happens in the mind. And if you look at those situations, they're always like mischievous situations, right? And there's like an
Stupid, yeah,
attraction
you're right.
like in the dark and the things that are like that. And I think that there's a like, so basically going back to that, I just felt like with the Ayesha Curry thing, like people took it and they tried to turn it into something like super dark to feed their own
right.
issues, their
Right.
own
I agree.
feelings with stuff
I
like
see
that,
what
their
you
own desires, their own like feelings of stuff like that. And so that's, for me, I felt like it was overblown. My natural reaction to it was just,
but like also
Right.
the thing is that what I was trying to think about was like women could seek attention different than men. Like women, they like Ayesha Curry might not want to like literally sleep with those guys that is different from men.
yeah.
We think
all know
different
that.
for them. You
No,
know
we
what
all
I'm saying?
know.
Like
We all know
women
it.
just want
We
the
all know that.
emotional. They want the. You know why?
But we know that. You know why? You know why? Because
Yeah.
because 98% of the time, 99.9% of the time, men are getting turned down.
Yeah.
That's
Not,
that's
they- they-
you telling
the
the truth.
success
You telling
rate,
the
even
truth.
if you have, even if you're happy with how many girls you met
That's
or
a
whatever,
fact.
you're getting turned down most of the time.
But
So
like,
the
yeah.
idea of that, they know what that is. That's what it is.
But the thing is, like, it's like women, they just, it's more just like a surface level where men, like, if a girl says anything like, you're the right guy for me, we're ready to take our clothes off. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we got testosterone. It's at the end of the day, it's like testosterone, like chemicals where like we're ready to take whatever the girl says lightly as a sign, like, yo, I'm trying to, all right, you said something good about my personality. Let's smash.
I got homeboys like that are literally
yeah, you know what I'm saying?
I
You know
got
the
homeboys that are
comedy.
like, you know, like,
Take ours.
they think like just because like they could be somewhere and they be like, you see how she came over here trying them chicken tenders about
Yeah.
me, right? I'm
Thank
like, dude,
you.
no, she wanted the chicken
You know
tenders.
what I'm
So
saying?
at what
She
point
want the
do
D
you become
automatically.
mature enough to say, okay, well, enough of the games. I want to settle down. When do you guys?
As men,
Yeah.
Well,
as
y'all
men.
more mature than us. I can admit.
Yeah, but
I'm
you,
not gonna lie.
as a man,
you think
though,
women are
I don't want to
mature?
paint it all with a brush though. I want one brushes because I think that like men, I think that every man is like I have a wide variety of friends. I have some friends that don't need to be married for probably about 25 more years.
Like give them 25.
And then I have friends that are married and like very good husbands, mature. So I think it happens, it just depends on who you're talking to and like what type of world they're living.
Sure.
But I think that like a lot of times the behaviors and the habits that a man has, you can read those things and tell whether or not they're prepared for something. Are they serious about anything?
Right.
But are they serious about anything that they're doing, right? Like what have they made a commitment to outside of just the woman or whatever? Like what commitments have they made in their life? Are they serious about those?
Just their
like,
goals and stuff.
Yeah, like those are the types of things that are really gonna matter in a relationship, period. So I think sometimes there is a hopeless, like there's a hopeless romantic element of like people. It's not just women that do this too, men do it as well, of like certain types of people that they wish would be the person that fits because they like that type of person, right? They enjoy certain elements of that type of
Or
person.
they like the feeling of being loved, but they don't know how to, like they don't know how to properly love, but they love the feeling of being in love.
There's a yin and yang of like the habits that certain people display that make you attracted to them and lust them are not the habits that make them the person that or like the behaviors. Those are the behaviors that align well with somebody that's you're committing to do something with for 50 years.
Right.
Yo,
It's just not the same, sometimes the same person.
I got a question. Have you ever, like, at your stage of maturity, right, whether being ready for a relationship, have you ever sacrificed that to a girl that you really wanted and you had to keep it real, like, I'm not ready for that? Like, I've sacrificed that, like, not getting with her, just being myself, like, I'm not ready for that right now. Like, have you ever sacrificed, just like, you really wanted to get with her, but you want to be a manhole? Let's keep it real. Like, you wanted to continue.
That's
in
good
Like,
that you
I've
were
sacrificed that, and I learned love is love.
Now let me ask you this.
Ready to love.
Let me ask you
is
this.
sacrifice.
Is there a situation that could stop you? Like that is it a matter of, because sometimes I feel like there's a thing where, let's just say use Nipsey for example, right? Yeah. Like we don't know, I don't necessarily know how he was wired or whatever, but there was obviously a woman that basically made him kind of stop what he was doing.
In his tracks.
Right, but in a way that, I don't know, he could have always been a monogamist or like, not monogamous, but someone that was always looking to have a girl or whatever. So I can't speak necessarily for him, but I'm using him as a hypothetical.
I see.
But what I'm saying is, I feel like a lot of guys don't want to stop until someone basically, and there's women too that are like this, that don't want to stop until somebody basically is like blows them off their feet.
Yeah, I'm on it though.
Like, meaning, like,
I'm not gonna stop until a girl knocks me off my feet. She gotta knock me off my feet. I'm not gonna lie.
Let me tell you this. This is also an issue though in our community, right?
All right.
Because there's an element of, I feel like people, it's kind of like a deal, right? Like when you're over at Home Goods or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Like if you look at something they selling an ottoman and you're like, I like that. How much is it? It's like $250. You like, you know what I mean? Right?
Okay.
But when something happens and you just see something, you're like, how much is that? And it's like $89. You're like, what? Right? And you're just like, that is the type of thing I need to walk out with, right? Mm-hmm. Let me tell you about that ideology. That ideology is like, people aren't necessarily settling down until they're getting something that's better than they like technically deserve. Mm-hmm. And it's like a weird thing where if everybody's trying to get a deal, then when does anybody ever settle? Because one person's
never satisfied.
No, but I'm saying everybody's trying to hopefully get like one step higher than they can. Nobody's trying to really get their equal. You know what I mean? They're trying to basically lead with the people that they're friends with, which are generally their equals, are like, how you do that? Mm-hmm. How did you do that? Like they wanna leave somewhere with
Right.
like I got that. I got something that nobody thought I was gonna get. Watch, like, and I'm happy when I get that, but I'm not happy with something that. So it almost seems like there's more of an attraction to basically like the things that can, how something can make you appear, or like what it can do to your social dynamic, or like feeling like you get something that you didn't deserve, which is like natural human interaction, right? I mean, human enjoyment versus like actually being interested in like companionship or like a marriage or stuff like that. You know what I mean? Because I have homeboys, the ones that I said that are far away from marriage, is like, they're like, yeah, but if I get that, I'd be good. And it's like, no, you're not really looking for companionship. You're looking to basically like come up or have people look at you as like doper.
Right.
Because of who you got, rather than what you're than the actual element of like a relationship.
What if it's like there's a Damian Marley song called "Still Searching"? Even Dom Kennedy, they have a similar song where it's like, what if we're on the journey, we're still searching? Like we're still searching for like, I can have a cute. It's not even about the looks. It's just the right look for you, right? They say beauty's in the eye of the beholder, right? They say all you have. You all got the right type, right? But it's got to match with the personality. And I'm still on the journey, like searching for, she got the right looks and then just the right personality, mentality. Like I'm still on the journey. Like, I'm pretty sure, are y'all on the
We're all on a journey though. Our entire life is a journey.
Yeah.
You may know what destination you're trying to go to like right now, but that may lead you elsewhere. Like you may not reach that destination, you may go somewhere else. Your entire life is a journey. Along that way though, you meet people. And it's up to you to either try to make those relationships work, and if it doesn't align with where you're trying to go, then you separate.
So
You get what I'm saying? So you may find the one halfway through that journey, you know what I mean? Or you may find 5 or 6 until you meet the right one. It just, you never know. Like, you just never know.
I'm with that.
Like, no, when I say 5, 6, I mean, like, I'm just.
No, but I'm just saying, like, I get you.
I feel like when
just
people
meet
make the
people.
broad statements of like people on the opposite sex end are doing this or that, they're always like, it's funny because when women are saying like guys aren't doing this, or like guys are saying women aren't doing this, they're generally talking like a small, like I always like to ask like, who are you talking about? Or even when people talk about like certain like, or whatever, they talk about like ethnicity or whatever, like who are you talking about in that group? Because generally I find that the people that have a lot of those problems are people that are like targeting towards these really like real messy elements of like this community. When they talking about what's it called, they talking about like girls that are like Instagram girls. It's like, yeah, I mean, you're talking about, that's a small pocket of the people, of women, you know what I'm saying? And when girls are talking about guy, they might be talking about like somebody that's a very specific type of guy. So I just think that it's like, I mean, that might be what you're attracted to, but I just think that it's like if you mess in this world of like all this, like all that, then you're probably gonna come across a lot of the same personality traits, issues, and things like that. So it's not like some big thing where you should be shocked. It's just like part of the comes with the territory almost.
Guys, girls, y'all have learned so much. We kind of just fell back and let them do it because they had a really good thing going. And I learned a lot how to maneuver around you niggas. Okay? All right. So thanks for tuning in to At Least I'm Blunt. It's your favorite girl, Mimi.
It's your man, Sammy G.
And it's your boy, Nevdo.
Abed.
Where can they find you?
Como_Nev and Instagram.
You know what? Yeah.
Yeah, put them out. Give me
Okay.
It'll be right there, right here.
That's fine. It'll come up. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe on our YouTube channel and SoundCloud. Leave comments. Let us know what you want to see, what you want to hear. Make sure you follow us on Instagram and at least I'm blunt. And that's it. It's been real, guys. That's a wrap. Rappity rap rap.